play, like their offense in general in the first half. Slow to get going here. Not unlike the game on Thursday when the Sockers were somewhat slow to get revved up against the Wichita Wings. They had to come from behind in that one, and that's what they're going to have to do here this afternoon in Baltimore. Foul against the Blast. Sloan called for obstruction. Right on a quick restart, tried to feed it in for Whitman, but he was somewhat away from where that pass went, tied up by Metric, and it comes out of play. So now down to 21 left on the power play. Blast out shooting the Sockers right now, 16-6.
At 8-10, Faith Bible Christian School, Victorious Faith Fellowship, the 5th District Rec, North Point Village Soccer.
And Kenny Cooper makes a last change here as he's allowed to with the home field advantage. Over to Dougherty. Now you see it. Sockers on the power play here in the second period, live at Baltimore. Woodbury is shot off the wall. You see it, rebound, they score. Whitman, and it's 3-2. Tim Whitman putting it past Vaccaro on the redirect of the shot from the point, and the Sockers cut the lead to a goal. A look from the end zone. It came off the wall. Back out to Usean, and he just drove it far post, and Whitman simply stuck his leg out and redirected that. 5:26. Power play goal, San Diego. Usean will get the assist on the goal by Tim Whitman, so it's 3-2 now. And for Whitman, that'll be goal number 19 on the year. Scores it against his former team, the Blast, where he spent 10 years. And here he is again. Heads this one down to Ladouceur at center. So the Sockers continue to battle here in the first half, chip away at what was a 3-0 Blast lead. Baltimore's lead cut to a goal now. Mobilio ahead to Chris Kelderman, but he'll lose it on the dribble as it's played by Crow back to Victor Nogueira. The quick throw to center. Ball right. As it glanced off his body, now double teamed by Sloan and Neely, and now he gets the call. And the Sockers will free kick from the right point side. Foul will go against Neely. 9:05 left here in the second period. I want to remind you, coming up at halftime this afternoon, we'll visit with Sockers forward Wes Wade. Golovnia from the point. That one hit Kelderman. Didn't even see it inside the penalty area. Golovnia clearing it back for Victor Nogueira. And Vaccaro makes the save there. Gives you an idea of the shortness of this field when Nogueira can kick it without much arc on it, straight on net down at the other end. This is Neely. 4 blocks last night, one of their key defenders, along with Fraser. Back for Chris Vaccaro. Baltimore seemed to have been taken a little bit out of their running game here this afternoon in the second period. Sockers have found a way to slow them down on their fast break, which was so effective early on and created the initial penalty. Mobilio puts one behind Nogueira, but Ladouceur will clear it. Dominic Mobilio, one of the most dangerous players in the league inside that penalty area. Here's John Kerr from the right point, battling to keep possession, gets it to Ladouceur. Shock. Over to Crow. He'll leave it along the boards for David Banks. And now all the way back to Nogueira. Nogueira, by the way, has now stopped 7 of 8 shootout attempts this year. Stopped one in the first period, or at least caused Mobilio to shoot it wide, which is good enough for me. We'll call it a save for Victor. And the Blast did not score on that power play. They did score on one later on. Now here's Banks back at center for the Sockers, who trail 3-2 with 7:20 left here in the second period. Nogueira plays it up the boards. You see in there. Tried to backheel it in front for Whitman. Dougherty now heads it to the corner. Flicked in front for Whitman. They're going to call a foul against Usean.
First as well on San Diego's number 4, Paul Dougherty, his second.
Now check that. They give it to Dougherty, his second of the half. Now Vaccaro on the throw, and they've corrected it back to our call. It's Usean's foul. Now Metric with it at center. So Dougherty with just 1 foul in the period, in the half rather. Back to Vaccaro, pressured by Crow. Releases up the right wing for Emil Dragicevic, and he's fouled by Kevin Crow, who went up top, or rather by Paul Wright, who went up top. And now we'll have a dangerous free kick opportunity for the Blast just outside the San Diego penalty area. As you see, Usian and Wright get set up. Castro saying something to them as the Blast set up this free kick opportunity. 6:49 left in the second. Baltimore with the first 3 goals of the game. Sockers have scored the last 2. Castro directs Gene Harbor to take it. Harbor winding, and he scores. It was deflected, but it's good. And the Blast now lead the Sockers 4-2. We'll be back here in Baltimore.
Drive to Hawaii without leaving San Diego. Experience the best in Polynesian and American cuisine at the Islands Restaurant at the Hanalei Hotel in Mission Valley. Fresh seafood, finely aged beef, and authentic Oriental and Polynesian favorites are yours nightly at the Islands Restaurant at the Hanalei Hotel on Hotel Circle.
Atlas Hotels is proud to be the official hotel company of the San Diego Sockers.
We know how hard you work. We'll work that hard for you. We believe in putting people first in everything we do. Every time we fly, every mile of sky, everything we do. USA begins with you.
Gene Harbor on the free kick. Just wound up and blasted it in. Looks like it went off Nogueira's leg. And beats Victor for the 4th time in the half. And the Blast up to a 4-2 lead. Harbor's 8th of the year unassisted at 8-12. And we're back underway with the live action. Ben Collins with the ball at center. Ahead for Usian along the near side boards, watched by Metric. Here's Dougherty out of the corner. That's knocked down by Rusty Troy. Now Collins and Whitman couldn't control it up at the line. And this one hits the cameraman. I think he's our cameraman. And comes out of play as Dougherty informed the referee of that. Didn't quite see it hit the camera lens. It did. There he is. Sticking his lens in Paul Dougherty's business. It's his job. And so now the restart for the Sockers. 6:22 to go here in the second period. Woodbury playing it to the open wing for Paul Wright. Castro up to pressure as Woodbury sends it deep. Usian's there, but Vaccaro goes up top and grabs this one. Troy up for Neely. Works the give and go and gets it back. Usian comes in from behind. Good job by Thompson to recover after that run upfield. Now Dougherty trying to pressure, and Vaccaro will send this down. Now Mobilio collecting it from Metric. Back to Mark Metric. Out of the corner. The wall ball comes in front. Cleared, but back to the line. Troy tied up by Ladouceur. Shot by Metric block. Now Paul Wright breaks out 2-on-1 with Usian. Right across the line. Shot, and that's cleared away. Rebound Ladouceur after it couldn't put it home. Collins controlling for the Sockers with 5.5 left in the second period. 4-2 Baltimore. Here's Usian. Tries to play it out the back door for Ladouceur. Here's Woodbury going down the left side. Grabbed by Mobilio. Still with it. Ladouceur shot. Vaccaro, great save. Excellent reactions by Chris Vaccaro. That's one of those saves he made similar to last night against Cleveland, when Vaccaro was outstanding with 23 saves. Nogueira, the high ball to center, headed down by Rusty Troy. Sockers play it to the open wing. Wes Wade, one of his few shifts in the game, out for San Diego. And ball called by DiPolito up at the red line. Now the Sockers will get a decent free kick. On the restart, back to Kerr. And didn't get all of that shot. Here's Castro, looks back to the goal. No play there, but it comes free to Ronson. Ronson out to Neely at center. Blast on the run and changing on the run. Castro trying to drive it in front. Went off Golovnia. kept in by Ronson. Soft shot and scooped up by Nogueira. Victor out to the red line and just kicks it into the Baltimore zone with 4:21 left here in this second period. Sockers have won 15 of their last 18 games. They've only lost once to the Blast this year. Here's Whitman, who'd love to beat his former team here today. Shot up high, and he tried to roof it, put it too high. Off the glass. Now played up the wing by Kozel in a race with Golovnia. Alex gets help from his defense as Whitman came across to assist him. Whitman trying to dribble it up the wing. Can't get away from Sloan. Golovnia sticks a leg in and sends it upfield for Kerr. Bouncing ball inside the penalty area, picked up by Vaccaro. Now here's Kelderman. Kelderman on the attack for the Blast. Plays it up for Mobilio. Out of the corner, turns to try and drive it off the boards. Did, but into Crow. Now Mobilio getting it back and playing it to Vaccaro. Both teams make some changes, or at least try to here. Sockers get Paul Wright on the field. Blast play it in deep to Sloan. Golovnia shoved out of the way. Wes Wade trying to play it up to Nogueira, and that was knocked down by the arm of Sloan for a foul. Third foul against Sloan, and we won't see any more of him in the half. 4 fouls and a half, and you go to the penalty box, so it's unlikely Sloan will be out for the final 3:05 of this period. Dougherty up the wing, look for Usian. Not enough juice on that pass. Comes back down into midfield now. Here's Gene Harbor, who scored the 4-2 goal for Baltimore off the free kick. Turns it over to Dougherty. Now Paul Wright battling with Harbor and shoved out of the way by number 99. That's the number Harbor wears. Foul called. Here's Wright. Usian open. Now back to Crow. Dougherty trying to take it in turn. Knocked down by Kelderman. Nogueira looks up. Banks makes a run through the middle. Victor will keep dribbling. Now up for Usian. Watched by Fraser. Back for Crow. Wound up. Shot it. Blocked. Here's Harbor with a break. Banks coming across defensively. Score! What a shot by Gene Harbor. This is great stuff here as Harbor crosses center. He knows Banks is on his left. He catches this thing on the half volley and blows it over the shoulder of Nogueira to the back side of the net. And it's 5-2 Baltimore. Back-to-back goals by Gene Harbor. 12:42, time of the Harbor goal. Kelderman picks up the assist. Now here's Neely. Back for Woodbury. And Metric will head this one back upfield. So the Blast regain their 3-goal lead that they enjoyed in the first period. Here's Dragicevic banging along the boards through an elbow at Collins that went uncalled. Now a bad bounce for Nogueira off the boards here, but he gets it out to Ben Collins. 1:45 left in the first half. Here's Collins on the run to Whitman. Overran it. Now trying to control it along the boards, and it's blocked by Neely. Out to Rusty Troy. He'll find Neely at center. Great pass out the right side. Dragicevic after it. Crow getting back for San Diego. This one will go by Neely, and now Woodbury steps up. And that's kicked by Castro back the other way. Battle for it along the boards, comes out to Castro. And now Metric will settle it as the Blast makes some changes here as we're down to 1:08 in the second period. 5-2 Baltimore. They scored the first 3. Sockers came back to cut the lead to a goal. Baltimore have come back with consecutive goals by Gene Harbor. Long ball by Vaccaro into the corner. Back down to Ben Collins. Now Ronson side of the net has a man. Mobilio. Nogueira picks it out of the air. Great save by Victor. That should have been the 6th Baltimore goal right there. But Nogueira with a brilliant move to go up high. Now Mobilio in the corner. Looks back to midfield, taken away. Sockers could use a late goal here to give them something to energize them going to the dressing room. 20 seconds left. Crow just holding the ball this side of midfield. Woodbury now looks for an opening. Kerr up front, but Fraser knocks it away. Taken by Ronson at center. He'll hurry up the pass, intercepted by Crow. Kevin held by Metric, and he'll just play it back to Nogueira, and that'll do it for the first half. So a very impressive first half by the Baltimore Blast. Ron Newman had to be upset with some of the calls that went against him early, although you can't fault the officials for the shootout. Although Baltimore never scored off that. Sockers did rally after the 3-0 deficit, but Baltimore was so well.
Well, the field's so small and everything's so quick, and that's more or less my game. You know, if I play fast, I have a lot of chances to score, and hopefully I'll do that tonight.
Wes, last 2 games, you have goals in each of them. After a bit of a drought for you, were you concerned at all that you weren't scoring goals for a while there, or is that as important a part of your game as some others?
Actually, that's not really part of my game. I just more or less play the defense, and if I have the chances, you know, I try to score. Lately, I haven't been doing it. You know, it's starting to pick up a little bit now. I'm playing a little bit more, so I get more chances.
Last year, you had a big year offensively. Maybe even to your surprise, some of the games you put together. A 3-goal game here comes to mind as one of those. Your numbers are down a little bit. Of course, it'll be a shorter season this year, but does that kind of go with what you just said about scoring, that you're not so much worried about your offensive numbers at the end of a season?
Yeah, it's just because we have Tomo up there now, and we hold the ball a lot more than we used to. And that keeps me off the field. And if I'm not on the field, I can't score. So that's just the way it's going now.
One of the big changes in this team in mid-season, which would be difficult for any team to deal with, was the disappearance of Brian Quinn, who joined the national team. Has your role changed at all since Brian left?
Not really. We more or less kept it the same. It's kind of hard filling his shoes and everything, but we're trying. We're getting along pretty good.
Another guy whose shoes are kind of tough to fill are Victor Nogueira's. But boy, you tried, Wes. A couple of weeks ago, in fact, 2 weeks ago tonight against the Baltimore Blast in an 8-1 win. You ended up playing quite a bit of time in goal when Victor was red carded. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it was different. You know, you get a whole new perspective of the game. You know, you're just back there watching the game. You're in it, but you're not really there. You know, you just sit back there and enjoy and watch everybody play. It was kind of fun. I liked it. You started playing soccer so late in your life compared to most people that play it professionally. Had you ever dabbled at playing in goal at all? Well, that's where I started. I started in the goal because my skill was terrible. So I started back there and I could use my hands. I enjoyed it. And then gradually I went out into the field. You've, of course, been in 6 attacker situations and things like that before. How did it differ actually being, you know, for as long as you were? Anything that you didn't think would come your way? Not really. As soon as I went in, the defense, you know, picked up all the slack, and I didn't really have to do anything. I probably had 3 saves the whole night, so it was really easy back there. What about the communication between the defenders and things like that? Did you try and do any of the organizing type work that Victor does, or did you kind of leave it to the experts? Well, you yell at them just, you know, because you're back there. You're supposed to yell at them and tell them what they're doing. You yell at them, they don't really listen to you because it's, you know, it's Wes. He's forward. He shouldn't be in there. So it's more or less you try, but they don't listen. Wes, this is your 3rd season in the Major Soccer League, and as I just said, you started playing soccer at a relatively old age, 17, 16 years old for most professionals. Here you are a couple of years into your pro career with the San Diego Sockers. You already have 2 championships. You're on your way to the playoffs again. Have you kind of already exceeded some of those personal goals in a few short years that you maybe were longer for? Yeah, you know, my first in the league, I win a championship. You know, that pretty much tops your career right there. You know, you really have nowhere to go. And then the next year we win another one. And then this year they're talking, you know, again, trying to win another one. It's really hard to keep topping it. One of the things you've become very popular for around the league is your flair and your dramatic play, and you've earned the most popular player award in San Diego the last 2 years, your first 2 years. What does that mean to you? That means a lot. It means the fans really appreciate what I do. And if they appreciate it, it makes me want to do it a lot better than what I'm doing it. So it keeps me going. Of course, you guys have already clinched a playoff spot, Wes, but we're down to that time of year where a lot of teams like the Blast and Cleveland, who you play tomorrow, and Tacoma, who you play next week, are fighting for playoff positions. Does that help you guys stay in a mental frame of mind heading into the playoffs to keep your game up where you know you can decide some of these playoff outcomes with how you play? Well, right now we're trying to win everything we can try to get more of a cushion. We're just trying to push it, and if we win, great. If we lose, then we start worrying about it. We haven't really started worrying yet.
Well, I know the Baltimore Blast hate to see you come into this building, Wes, and again, congratulations, too, on your All-Star selection. You also scored a goal in the All-Star game in this building. Best of luck the rest of the way and into the soon-approaching playoffs.
Thanks, Randy.
Wes Wade of the San Diego Sockers. It's halftime between tomorrow in Cleveland, and Dallas will lose tomorrow at St. Louis. We'll have to see how it all unfolds. And we're underway. Sockers defending the goal to our right, attacking right to left in their road blues here in the second half. Paul Dougherty at center, shoved out of the way by Rod Castro. Now Castro comes free, drops it for Kelderman. He'll play it off the boards, now off the glass. Into the corner goes Usian to head it back to Victor Nogueira. We'll watch with interest to see how the Sockers come back after a poor first half. They started slowly, showed some promise, but then reverted to form late in that second. Castro taking a dive as the ball came into the corner. Official doesn't buy it as Crow was there marking Castro, and now Nogueira will kick it to center. Gets it up to Usian. This is where Thompson operates from best, in the corner, holding off an opponent with an arm. Out to Dougherty from Whitman. That's wide. Nogueira will just take it again as the Sockers make a quick change, get Woodbury on the field. Victor now walking it across his red line. No pressure from the Blast, so Nogueira just waits for an opening. Finds Usian, first time to Whitman, great ball, and Timmy should have controlled it. Perfectly played by Usian. Whitman may have been screened away by the defender, not seeing that until it was too late. But it was a great ball through by Thompson Usian. Now Woodbury takes a look. Crow will release up for Usian, not high enough. Troy knocks it down. Now the quick transition by Baltimore, but Troy forced to turn around and play it back for Kelderman on defense. Now to Ian Fraser, the league block leader, coming into the game with 75. Here's Fraser out of Hartwick College, and he just about hits Sockers trainer Bill Taylor on the bench as he tried to play it up the glass, and it came out of play for San Diego ball on the restart with 13:08 left here in the third period at the Baltimore Arena. Reason for this matinee is they have professional indoor lacrosse here at the Baltimore Arena tonight. The Sockers will take the opportunity to fly out of Baltimore right after the game and get to Cleveland and get a good rest there before tomorrow evening's encounter that you can hear on KFMB at 3:55 in the afternoon. Vaccaro will have this one bounce right to him, collects it, and now throws to center. Mobilio, who has a goal and an assist, leaves it for Sloan. Sloan with nothing but room down the wing. Back for Mobilio, his left footer, way wide and out of play.
San Diego. The official soccer ball.
And Ben Collins goes back over to the corner to get it. Ben's been very consistent offensively of late, points in 12 of his last 14 games. You can always count on Collins' defensive work, and his offense since coming to the Sockers has been very consistent as well. Last year's most valuable player in the championship series. John Kerr Jr. battling for it along with Sloan. It comes free to Ladouceur. Ladouceur from the right point. That one went wide. Mobilio will clear it to center. Collins last man back. He heads it to Nogueira. Victor just lifts it over Dragicevic and now gets it back. Keep in mind, Ladouceur, who got the game winner in overtime, got the other game-winning overtime goal of his career here in Baltimore earlier this season. That was in a remarkable comeback by the Sockers when they trailed 3-0 going to the fourth period and won it 4-3. One of the best games all year for San Diego. Here's Neely, tied up along the boards by Golovnia and Kerr. At least one of the best outcomes of the year, if not the best performance over the 60-plus minutes. It was a thrilling afternoon, or actually evening, to be here in Baltimore when the Sockers rallied as they did, coming from behind. That was back on the 29th of December. Here's Nogueira. Long ball up the wing, and this will come right to Vaccaro again. You do a lot of running on this field in a game at Baltimore. With the short field, that ball goes end to end in a hurry, and especially your midfielders do a lot of work in the games here. You get a lot of shots and you get a lot of goals. Pass for Crow, and that'll be cleared off the glass by Castro. Good defensive effort by him. Now Kerr flicks it back for Banks. Sockers need the next goal of the game, you would think, down 5-2. Here's Whitman, a blast. That's wide. Headed by Kerr, but not enough on it as Vaccaro will pick it up and roll it ahead for Ronson. Both teams change on the run as Ronson works his way to center. Now just dumps it into the Sockers zone. Picked up there by Nogueira. He'll drop it down right side for Banks. 10:40 left to go, third period. 5-2 Baltimore leads. Gene Harbor with 2 big second period goals opened up what was a tight 3-2 game. Now Nogueira working it up the left wing. Wade reaching out, but Troy had a hold of him. Wade looks back for a foul call, doesn't get it. The throw by Vaccaro up to center, handled there by Kojal. Back for Kelderman. He first times it into midfield, taken away by Dougherty. Now headed up for Crow. Crow back for Dougherty in his own midfield zone, watched by Mobilio. Good ball skills by Dougherty. Good patience as well as he finally works it back to Nogueira. Now Victor through the legs of Whitman up for Crow. Kevin bounced it past Whitman. He'll back up to get it. Leaves it for Nogueira. Sockers moving the ball well here in the third period. Trying to work it for a shot. Right now, most of the action in their half of the field. Banks shoots it long. Into the corner for Usean. Thompson will spin out of there. Looks for a passing lane. Doesn't find it. Drives it into Troy. Rebound kicks out to Banks at center. He's tracked down by Gene Harbor. The crowd starts cheering as Harbor comes out. Now a back heel by Nogueira works it crossfield for Banks. 9:30 left third period. 5-2 Baltimore. Here's Usean. Collins working it up to Ladouceur. Usean turning as he moves away from Troy back to Banks. He'll wind out of the corner, shoots, doesn't get through, and Vaccaro's got it. The throw to Fraser behind him. Woodbury steals it. Now the Sockers with running room for Ben Collins. Collins down, wound up for a shot, now plays it short. Back out to Paul Wright. Wright winding up from the red line. Fakes left, plus plays it back for Usean. Tied up in the corner by big Rusty Troy. And Troy will clear it to Vaccaro. Up the left side, Dragicevic. First times it, rebound to Neely, and that's up to the second deck here at the arena for a goal kick for San Diego with 8:39 left here in the third period. Now the Sockers worked it patiently for a shot or two. Blast come back on that quick transition downfield. The fast break gives Neely an opportunity. Unfortunately for him, he missed a wide open net. Blast have had very good third periods this year. You see there they've outscored their opponents 50-32. It's the fourth period where they struggle, and it's where they seem to have lost many of their games, especially on the road. See if the Sockers can buck the trend here and have a big third period of their own. Here's Dougherty. Left foot shot way wide. Dougherty with the first of the 2 San Diego goals back in the first period. It was his 31st. Here's another pass for Paul over his head. Neely will bring the rebound out for the Blast. Kerr watching him at center. Neely gets away from him. Now Kerr with the steal. He's got Wright with him. 2-on-2. And that's wiped away by Castro. As Sloan comes back the other way. The lead pass for Castro into the corner. Shoved by Dougherty, but keeps his balance. Now here's Castro. Gets an opening, and the shot deflected up high. Castro trying to bring it down. Blast still with it, and finally Curl headed back to Victor Nogueira. He's bumped by Dragicevic, but the referee Dippolito will let play go on as Victor dribbles across the red line. Long pass, and that'll bounce right to Vaccaro again with 7:30 left here in the third period. Sockers playing well here in the third. Trying to chip away at a 3-goal Baltimore lead. Collins works it inside, and it's taken away by Ronson. Now a breakout pass to Ali Casamani. He'll hold up. He's got people running for him. Still with it out to the right for Mobilio. Cuts it back across the other way. Now a foot race, and Fraser will get to it first, clearing it back for Vaccaro. Talk about a building where you can see a lot of goals. They played the All-Star game here. There were 23 goals. Of course, All-Star games are always a little more offensive, but 23? Final score was 14-9 for the West. Here's Ladouceur. Chance down the left side. Controls it with his right foot. Now back through the middle for Collins. Picks it out of the air, trying to settle it for a shot. Kicks it, but not far enough for Golovnin. Now a pass off the wall intended for Mobilio, but this will be cleared by the Sockers. Back to Victor Noguera. Up the near side for Golovnia. 6.5 to go in the third period. You see it. Up for Crow. Now into Whitman. Golovnia across for Usian, and he fans on the scissor kick attempt. Back comes Ronson. He'll wind from long distance. Metric was there, far post for the redirect, but couldn't bring it in. Now Troy cheats up from the back. Nice play as he took the gamble and got the ball back. It's Neely at center, over to Kelderman. Both teams change on the run. Wes Wade comes out, trying to force the play. Neely lets it go into the corner for Harbor. Gene Harbor got around Golovnia, who had him all tied up for a moment. It comes out to Wade at center. West trying to control it, gets it to Whitman. Whitman along the boards against Kojal and just plays it into the Baltimore zone. The throw by Vaccaro, intercepted by Crow. Wade gets it down, but the Sockers slow to react as Joe Kojal comes back the other way. Whitman clipped it away from him from behind. Now here's Crow starting out at his own red line. Back to Dougherty as the Sockers make some changes. Paul stopping at center, over to Ben Collins. And Baltimore with some good defensive work in the midfield zone. Here's Banks. Everybody well marked upfield. Now the pass up for Dougherty, but John Kerr didn't read it the right way. Back to Ben Collins. Sockers patiently playing the ball around here, but getting very little in the way of quality scoring opportunities. Banks now, long pass for Dougherty. It went off him, directed toward goal, but Vaccaro there to stop it. A weak shot, but still a tough ball for Vaccaro to handle. He's not exactly sure how it's going to come off that glass. And Dougherty was fortunate to get his body in front of it and direct it toward net. That may be the first shot on net, if you want to call it that, for San Diego in the period. Here's Fraser. Shot saved by Victor Noguera. Banks now playing it back for Noguera, and he had a little trouble with it, fumbled it for a moment. Then he throws it right to Troy at center. Now the Sox get it back. Here's Ladouceur, left side. Shot off the wall, nobody on the trailer for San Diego. Troy playing it out to midfield. Castro can't get around David Banks. Here's Banks to Kerr, and now Collins will try and set things up. Back to Kerr on the right side. Takes his shot, knocked down by Vaccaro. Cleared, but Collins with it again. To Banks, to Ladouceur. Jock in front, they score. Paul Wright. And finally, the Sockers work it around and get rewarded. We pause with 3:35 left here in the third. It's Baltimore 5 and the Sockers 3. Down. Terry with great speed and a great shot, and that's the kind of penalty, if you're Kenny Cooper, that you can live with. Now you hope your penalty killing unit can get the job done for you. Sockers on the power play have been unsuccessful so far in the game. Lately they have scored coming into the game just one of their last 7, so now one of their last 8 coming into this man advantage opportunity. So the Sockers on the power play here late in the third, a chance to cut the lead back down to 1. Woodbury out there with Usian, Dougherty, Whitman, and Wright. Paul watched by Sloan, back for Usian. Now to Whitman at the left point. His shot in traffic and kicked out by Metric. And they're going to give it to Baltimore, saying it went off Dougherty. So the restart will come from within the Baltimore zone with 3:02 left in the period. 1:43 left in the San Diego power play. Sockers power play goal score shared by Paul Wright, Paul Dougherty, each of whom have 4 power play goals on the year. Sockers on the season have 15 power play goals. Here's Wade. Grabbed at center. Play goes on. Sloan after it. Wade ridden into the boards. Collides with Sloan. Play continues as the action heats up. But right now the Blast doing a job on the penalty killing end. Protecting a 2-goal lead as we tick down to 1:12 left in this San Diego power play. Woodbury. Nice back heel to Dougherty. That opens some space. Paul a little light on the pass. Knocked away by Metric. Now it comes back to Woodbury. He'll let it go, and he scores! Terry Woodbury looked off to Dougherty. Vaccaro took his eye off Woodbury, and he buries a left footer. Power play goal. It's 5-4. Great stuff by the Sockers. Terry Woodbury make it 13 in a row with a point for him. Look at that perfect placement of that left foot shot. He's got an awesome left foot, and he used it right there. And he just looked over at Dougherty enough. Vaccaro, who's watching the eyes of the shooter, bought it. He looked off, and Woodbury buries it. So Woodbury picks up the San Diego goal. 5-4 now, Blast. Teams back at even strength as we're down to 2:03 left in the third period. Golovnia, and that'll be picked up by Vaccaro. For Terry Woodbury, give him his 18th goal of the season, and he has scored a point in 13 straight contests. Here's Ben Collins out of the corner, plays it back to Victor Nogueira. So now Nogueira coming up with some big saves, and he's getting the support down at the other end. Ball out of play, and let's see who they give possession to. It'll come to the Sockers on the restart with a minute for 35 in the period. Golovnia back for Paul Wright. Sockers oozing confidence in this third period. They really shut Baltimore's game down in the third, slowed the pace, played the ball around, a lot of one-touch passing, went into their one-touch game. Got the goal that they waited a long time for by Paul Wright, and then Woodbury comes back with an excellent power play goal. So if you're Ron Newman, you're very happy with this period. They've also shut the Blast down since in the second period when they scored for the last time. Off the glass, Vaccaro will pick this up with a minute to go in the period. We get a whistle there along the edge of the box. And we're going to get a foul called against Baltimore. So the Sockers are going to get a chance to tie it here on this free kick at the edge of the penalty area. Ladouceur over it with Wright. Foul was against Vaccaro. Great opportunity here. Ladouceur fakes. Paul Wright drives it right into Vaccaro, and it's cleared out. Back down it comes as Nogueira works it to center. Crow, as the Sockers change on the run, gets it down to David Banks. Excellent third period by San Diego here this afternoon. Banks now working against Mobilio. David forced to turn it over by Mobilio. He's got the open net. Shoot, score. David Banks makes a terrible mistake, and that's the end of a great period for San Diego. They give up a real soft goal. Banks tried to outrun Mobilio. David does not have good foot speed. Mobilio beat him to the ball and buried it past Nogueira. Big Baltimore goal. Mobilio's second.
Mobilio's second goal of the afternoon for Bronson, 14-28.
Bronson gets the assist at 14-28. Here's a chance for Whitman back the other way as Baltimore now on top 6-4. Dougherty turns, shot as he's falling, blocked, rebound by Golovnia, and it's kicked out for a restart Sockers with 18 seconds to go in the period. David Banks over on the San Diego bench, dejected. He knows he made a bad mistake there. A goal that cost his team. Sockers were really on a roll, and that stopped it right there. Let's see if they can pick it up here and get one back before the period break. 18 seconds to go here in the third. Whitman pulled down in the corner by Metric, but no whistle. And Vaccaro should be able to kill most of the clock as he throws downfield. This will get to Sloan. Sloan now trying to get away from Golovnia, almost did. Collins settles the ball in his own zone. Back for Alex, and that'll be it for the third period.
That's the end of the third quarter.
So Baltimore gets a gift to end the third period, a Dominic Mobilio goal, and we go to the break. At the end of 3 periods, it's the Baltimore Blast 6 and the San Diego.
Game when you're playing here, but the glass is so high, it's just they just dump balls in there and just beat it around until it gets inside the box and score goals. And unfortunately, we're going to have to try and do the same thing, I think. You can't play very good soccer here, but you've got to make the other team make mistakes.
You really seem to slow the game down in the third period. A lot of one-touch passing. You moved the ball around really well. You worked hard for the goal you got from Paul Wright. Is that pretty much the way you're going to have to do it in the fourth period, try and slow them down?
Yeah, I've pushed Paul Wright up forward, Randy. They're marking him so close, and he wants to come further and further back downfield, which is where they want him to be. So I'm pushing him up with Tomo Usain and bringing Johnny Kerr back into the midfield to see if we can get some one-on-ones, because they're getting back very well. Obviously, they're a very desperate team to make the playoffs, but I thought we had them a bit nervous at 5-4. Now we're going to go and do it again.
All right, Ron, best of luck.
Thank you.
The Auto Trader Coaches Report's been brought to you by the Auto Trader. For effective and inexpensive advertising, pick up a copy of the Auto Trader. Still 15 minutes left here. The Blast leading the Sockers 6-4. A big third period for San Diego until the Mobilio goal. Sockers had cut the lead to 1 on goals by Paul Wright and Terry Woodbury. Woodbury extending his consecutive game point streak to 13. But then the Mobilio goal at 14:28 gave the Blast the 2-goal lead that they now enjoy going into the fourth period. This is where Baltimore have had their downfall this season in the fourth period. You see there they've been outscored 63-49. See if the Sockers can get it done here in the fourth as they did back in December. San Diego now defending the net to our left to start this fourth period. And attacking left to right in their blues. Up for Kerr. And now he'll get it back from Crow. Wade will pick it up. Tried the back heel for Dougherty. It comes loose to Kerr. Back for Dougherty. Shot deflected off the glass high. Crow hammering at it as Harbor races after the ball, but Noguera will get to it first. Up for Wade. This will deflect into the crowd. Ron made a good point about the high glass they have here in Baltimore. That's a hockey spillover. This is also the home of the American Hockey League's Baltimore Skipjacks, who share this facility with the Blast and evidently with the indoor lacrosse team who will play here tonight. Not sure if the Washington Bullets played any of their games here this season. They did. They played a handful of them, I've just been told. So this is truly a multi-purpose facility here. As Fraser takes a shot wide. Bullets, of course, play the majority of their games at the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland. Crow back defensively now behind his own red line to Noguera. We're in the fourth period live. Glad you're with us on this Saturday afternoon from Baltimore, Maryland. Sockers try to give these teams that are fighting for playoff spots some problems. They've got back-to-backs against 2 teams battling, the Blast and then tomorrow Cleveland. Here's Whitman. Nice pass through for Ladouceur. He's got Usain in alone. Scores! Great passing by the Sockers, and it's a 1-goal game again, 6-5. Usain, the hero. The Sockers clear the bench. Meantime, in front of the Baltimore net, Ian Fraser, the defender on the play, is down and hurt. But first, let's look at the replay. There's Ladouceur. This is some great work between he and Usain. There was a series of passes before that sprung Usain free on the give and go. And then Usain puts it away.
Goal number 21, Thompson Usain. Assistant number 19, Jacques Ladouceur. Time of the goal, 1:27.
And the time of the goal comes at 1:27. As Thompson Usain nets goal number 22 of the year. Ladouceur the assist. Well, it's Fan Appreciation Night with the Sockers. Saturday, April 4th. They will host the Dallas Sidekicks to end the regular season. And it'll be team photo night that evening. All fans get a free Sockers 91-92 team photo. Compliments of Coca-Cola and Bonds. Fans will also have a chance to win one of over 75 great Fan Appreciation Night prizes to be given away that evening. Tickets for Fan Appreciation Night on sale now at the Sports Arena box office, all Ticketmaster locations, or call the Sockers at 224-GOAL. Now there's the Baltimore training staff looking at Ian Fraser. We told you he turned an ankle last night. They listed him as doubtful for this afternoon's game. He may have re-injured himself there trying to defense Usian and Ladouceur. He's able to walk off on his own. And the Sockers have cut the lead. And once again, it's a one-goal game. 6-5 now as Usian gets that goal early and gives the Sockers lots of time here to come all the way back. Woodbury winning it in the defensive third. Dougherty battling against Ronson, and now it's back to Terry Woodbury. Here's Wade after the ball in the corner against Rusty Troy. West tried to chest it down. Troy shoving him out of the way and then clearing it out of the zone to center. Woodbury with it back for San Diego, shoved by Castro as they battle away. Woodbury, nice fake pass back to Nogueira. Woodbury showing a lot of confidence back there defensively. Played as a backup forward to Tattoo last year in Dallas. There's a lot of thought that Tattoo had a lot to do with the fact that Woodbury was not signed by the Sidekicks for this season. They released him right before the start of the year. He and Tattoo did not have a good relationship on or off the field, and many feel Tattoo used his influence within the organization. There's a goal by Wright. We're tied. Just like that. Cut off my story in a hurry. It is 6-all. Paul Wright with his second goal, and the Baltimore arena is rather quiet except Woodbury with it back for San Diego, shoved by Castro as they battle away. Woodbury, nice fake pass back to Nogueira. Woodbury showing a lot of confidence back there defensively. Played as a backup forward to Tattoo last year in Dallas. There's a lot of thought that Tattoo had a lot to do with the fact that Woodbury was not signed by the Sidekicks for this season. They released him right before the start of the year. He and Tattoo did not have a good relationship on or off the field, and many feel Tattoo used his influence within the organization. There's a goal by Wright. We're tied. Just like that. Cut off my story in a hurry. It is 6-all. Paul Wright with his second goal, and the Baltimore arena is rather quiet except for the boos. Look at this move that Paul Wright puts on Rusty Troy. Going around him. Everybody knows Paul Wright is going to go to his right foot when he can. Rusty Troy knows it. Every defender in this league knows it. He still beats him. And Paul Wright scores his second goal of this game, his 44th of the year. Take that, Segota. And it's 6-all. And now a timeout called by Kenny Cooper. I've got to be thinking Cooper can't believe his 3-0 lead evaporated. Then that late goal in the third period on the mistake by Banks gave the Blast some momentum. The Sockers have come right back again. If, of course, this game went to overtime, Dougherty's personal foul clock would be reset to 0. Golovnia trying to keep it in, but a little too much angle on that. It'll go out of play for a Baltimore kick in with 6:15 left.
Once again, this reminder, we'll be back here now again Thursday, March 26th, 7:05, St. Louis.
Well, you look at the soccer schedule down the rest of the season, and they are playing all the teams that are battling to get into the postseason. They've only got one more game against Dallas, who are pretty solid in second place. That'll be the final game of the season on April 4th. But all the rest, Cleveland, St. Louis, Tacoma, Wichita, all teams fighting to get into the postseason as it comes out of play. So the Sockers, depending on how they finish this season, will have a lot to say about who does and doesn't get into the playoffs. You can't accuse the MSL of letting everybody in. Only 4 of the 7 teams make it. You immediately go to semifinals. Fraser, long pass comes into the corner. Sloan battling with Golovnia. Ladouceur trying to dig it out. And this is Gene Harbor. He'll play it to center. Metric controlling it there. Pressured by Jacques. Ladouceur still after it. Now it's Metric with it. Out of the corner, wall ball in front. Ronson with a chance. Second effort on the deflection high at the side of the net, and it'll be cleared by the Sockers. A little miscommunication there, out of play. And they'll give the free kick at the top of the D, call it intentional. The defense in front of Nogueira was a little frantic there, and Lundy sure had much more time than he showed on the way he kicked that one away. So now the good dead ball chance for the Blast. 5:38 left in regulation. It's 6-6. The shot clock has really evened up. Here's Harbor over to Troy, and Golovnia with a big block. Now the Sockers break out as Kerr is brought down from behind by Harbor. Oh, that could have been a 2-minute call at another point in the game. Silva looked back and thought about grabbing his blue card and then reconsidered. Blast now out shooting San Diego 26-24. It was a 24-14 margin earlier. Here's Golovnia with a chance, and his shot goes off Sloan out of play. And now the Sox will kick in from the far glass with 5:17 left. Well, it'll be a much more pleasant trip to Cleveland for the Sockers tonight if they can escape with a victory here in Baltimore. It would be their 8th in their last 9 trips to this building. Here's Crow on the restart. Drives it right into Castro. Tried to get it back from Kojal, and now Kevin with it. Played it behind Usian, and Casamani will clear it beyond center for the Blast. Nogueira comes out, sends it back the other way for the Sockers. He can go the length of the field. Batted away by Vaccaro. Crow with the rebound, scores! Kevin Crow gives the Sockers their first lead all day. Crow laughing after that volley, but it's nothing to laugh about if you're a Blast fan. Vaccaro was all tied up. Here's Crow. Perfect textbook stuff. Off the chest, down to the left, volleys it home. World-class stuff by hardly a world-class goal scorer, but a great goal by Kevin Crow, and the Sockers lead 7-6. That looks like one that Julie V taught him. Another chance. Whitman scores! It's 8-6. Vaccaro up in no man's land. The Blast turn it over. This one could be over. Just like that, the Sockers hammer 2 into the Blast net. Look at Vaccaro heading it from across the red line right to Whitman. And the former Blast forward buries it. And I'll bet a goal hasn't fed as good as that one for Tim Whitman in a while. And people are leaving and not believing the score. So a mistake by Banks looked devastating for the Sockers, but a bigger mistake by Vaccaro may have lost them the game, or at least lost them a chance to get back into it. The Blast forced to go 6th attacker now. The score is 8-6 San Diego. What a strange turn here, as the Sockers now have scored 4 unanswered goals. And there's Ian Fraser, the 6th attacker. For Crow, his 8th goal of the season. For Whitman, his 2nd of the game and 20th of the year. And now the Blast need 2 to tie. We're down to 4:35. Here's Ronson, losing it to Kerr. Banks is there, but Mobilia will get it back. Ball at the far glass. Crow up in the air. Heads it back down to Mobilio, and the Blast will control it deep in their own half of midfield. Fraser playing it up the boards. And now a foul called against Woodbury. You see in right, Crow and Whitford in this period for San Diego. Woodbury has a goal. Dougherty has a goal in the game. The scoring is spread all over the stat sheet, as was the case Thursday when 9 different Sockers had points. Here's Castro from the red line, drives it into Woodbury. Castro playing it back across midfield. Reaching out for a shot was Troy. Rejected. Woodbury now from his own red line kicks this one out of play. And there's 3:58 left. Well, that goal by Kevin Crow was the heartbreaker, and what a goal it was. Right now, that's play of the game. Here's Fraser. Castro turning up the boards against Crow. Kevin had a hold of him. Held him up just long enough, and now Nogueira's got it. Picks up, drops it down to Paul right at center. Paul can't get it on the bounce. And it's cleared back. Troy after it. Gets it to Mobilio. 3:39 left. 8-6 San Diego. Sockers trailed 3-0 early. Here's Sloan with a chance, but Nogueira will clear this. Fraser ahead for Mobilio. Now Castro back to Fraser. Castro's shot deflected into the corner, and Woodbury will clear it. Now a race for the ball, and it'll go wide of the net, and Fraser will pick it up. Tosses it over to Rusty Troy. Troy gets it by Wade at center. Now Sloan by Banks, and a ball through the box, and Ronson couldn't find it. He was behind it. Now Troy from midfield. He'll wind up Victor Nogueira. Big stop. 2:45 left. Sockers keeping the pressure on as it goes into the San Diego bench. Baltimore has scored just once in this third period. It would be a clean shutout in the second half, or in the second half rather. It would be a clean shutout were it not for the Banks miscue. But that's long forgotten as the Sox are up by a couple. That's the beauty if you're a San Diego Soccer, and Banks makes so few mistakes. Can't remember one such as that. If something happened, there's a chance you're going to get it back the other way. And boy, did Vaccaro give the Sockers a gift the other way. Here's a chance for Kerr in front, and he reaches out and fans on it. Fraser picks up and drops it down to Rusty Troy. Tough for the Blast here because they're playing their second game in under 24 hours. It's fourth period when they need an extra lift, and it's got to be when they're running out of gas. Wes Wade for the open net, but that was blocked. And now Wade committing the foul in the midfield zone.
First foul, San Diego's number 24, Wes Wade, his first.
Here's Troy over to Castro. Fraser in front. Mobilio one times it. Golovnia in front. Loose ball. Nogueira's down, and it's out of play. Golovnia with a rather dubious play in front of his own goal. Almost deflected that one in past his keeper. Nogueira was calling out for it, and Golovnia stuck his foot on it. And now Ron Newman sends out some fresh people. Corner kick Blast with 2:03 left. Not over yet. Baltimore gets a couple of nights off after this 2 games in a day and a half stretch. Soccer's right back at it tomorrow evening in Cleveland. We'll have it on the radio side on 76 KFMB at 3:55. Join us live for that as Billy Ronson gets set on this corner kick Baltimore. The Blast net down at the other net end is empty. Ronson far post. Sloan volleys it off the crossbar and out, and they score. Billy Ronson, his second of the game, and it's a 1-goal ball game again. A minute 59 left. There's the corner kick. Sloan with the volley. It went off the underside of the crossbar, back out the far post, and Ronson simply there to hammer it home into the empty net. So the 6th attacker goal for Ronson. 13:01, time of the 6th attacker goal. Here's Usean down at the other end. Takes a tumble, no foul. Minute 46 remaining. 8-7 Sockers. Here's Fraser at center from Troy, who gets it back. Plays it by Paul Wright. Ronson looking far post off the high glass. Down to Castro. Mobilio in front. Wade went over top of him to knock that one away, and a foul San Diego. Wes Wade with a dangerous play right at the edge of the box. And now a free kick Baltimore up at the front. They're going to call the foul inside the box, bring it out to the top of the D. In comes Gene Harbor to take the free kick. He has 2 goals. One of them was scored from a free kick. Plays it over to Troy. Bad ball. And now the Sockers' Paul Wright will clear it downfield. A minute 22 left. It's a one-goal game. Here's Fraser. Lost it to Paul Wright, but they get it back. A ball between Baltimore players. Woodbury steps up for it. Now he's got Fraser back as the goalkeeper. Shoots and scores. And Terry Woodbury should have sealed it there. At 1:03, slips it past Ian Fraser, and the Sockers up 9-7. Woodbury dribbling all by himself, and I think he put it through the legs of Ian Fraser. Good poise by Woodbury. That's goal number 19 for Terry, his second of the game, and it's 9-7.
1 minute left in the quarter.
A minute left in regulation now with Rusty Troy holding the ball at center. Back for Fraser. Blast need 2 again. Here's Castro to the corner. Sloan back for Mobilio. Crow will clear this. Sockers with the best road record in the league, 9-6 coming in, about to go to 10-6. As Crow will send it back across center again with 34 left. So it will be a pleasant journey to Cleveland for the Sockers. As Woodbury bumps it ahead for Kerr, and Banks from his own zone will score. David Banks gets a little justice, and the Sockers hit double figures, 10-7. Boy, things do even out. And David Banks can forget about his mistake of earlier, and his teammates are giving him the razz right there about it. It's all forgotten, David. Goal number 7 of the year for Banks. And that was a building emptier or something. So 21 seconds left, and simply the task that remains now is to run out the clock, because this one is out of reach for the Blast. Woodbury's had a fine game for the Sockers as it's cleared out. And a goal kick for Victor Nogueira. 10 seconds remaining. A little preview to tomorrow. Don't be surprised if Curtis McAllister from San Diego State University gets the start in goal for the Sockers. Signed as a developmental player. Ron Newman planning on giving that man Victor Nogueira a rest, who today started his 35th consecutive game in goal. Kerr kicks it into Wes Wade at center. It ends on a comical note, and the Sockers end their season series with the Baltimore Blast. And they come out with a 5-1 record in the regular season. They defeat the Blast here this afternoon by a final score of 10-7. As Ron Newman's Sockers cut their magic number to